You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Well, now, this could be the busiest podcast we've had in a long time. We've got an extraordinarily intriguing guest we're going to speak to about a thing that's been going on for a decade. But why am I preempting that, Don? And Ivan. Ivan's here. Ivan's just
Morning,
in
boss.
from...
the units up the road.
He's not in from the units up the road. He's in from Western Australia and from the mines. He's just off the plane.
Flown
He might be a
directly?
bit jet lagged.
So he's just got off the horror flight, has he?
Yep. Yeah. Got an address, a pronouncement from a bloke. His name we can't mention in Mount Gambier, the orthopaedic surgeon.
He wrote you a letter,
Barney.
He wrote you a letter.
He said just go along, everything as normal. Don't take advice from anyone on how to run the podcast. So we've taken that on board, Don. Ooh. Remember, we were told
by upstairs.
Oh, by everywhere.
No, upstairs.
Yeah, upstairs.
Well,
and your girlfriend.
Who's my girlfriend?
Sue Stanley.
Oh, she critical too.
No, she wasn't critical. She was just trying to advise on how it might be, because we said that it was. They said upstairs. Them upstairs said it was getting a bit sort of repetitive. And because that's all we are, repetitive people by nature, Don, because we've got no brains really. We just like parrots. Yeah. Now, Don, you're like a parrot. You look like a parrot today. You've got sulphur-crested fucking... You got pink and blue and green and...
Like a galah?
You look absolutely...
A galah is pink and grey.
Anyhow, we got a lot of things.
No, yeah.
Could I just tell you this for
You're
a start?
flummoxing a bit.
Did you know...
He's sick. Did you know that?
The snake oil king's in town. Barack Obama. Did you know that? God Almighty. Would you pay $200 to go and listen to him speak shit?
No, they're paying more than that.
No, just $200 to go to the auditorium to listen to him.
I know someone who paid...
He's the most
$1,900 for
divisive and racist president ever.
Please, will you shut up? I'm not interested.
Well, why would you go and listen to that man speak absolute crap?
Yeah, okay. I agree with you, but why would you go and listen? I agree with that.
He's a prominent person.
Prominent person.
How much would he be getting? And also, Clinton did this as well, did a tour of Australia.
Prominent person, because the media crank him up. I wonder if he'll be asked to account for the fact that he spied on the Trump election, weaponised the DOJ.
Why don't you...
And the CIA to spy on the Trump election, was soft on China, was soft on Ukraine, was soft on Russia, just an absolute non-entity, a lightweight.
Why aren't you more interested in Australian politics than American? We can't do anything about that.
Well, speaking of Australian politics, Dan Andrews gone over to China.
Isn't that a ripper?
One of the main reasons he's gone over, he said, was to try and recruit university students. As someone said, a prominent orthopaedic surgeon said, if you're going to go over and try and recruit university students, you think you might take over with you a
chancellor or somebody from the university,
from one of the universities. Well done, Don. Ooh. Yeah, you'd think you might do that, but he's just gone over on a junket.
This intrigues me because it's conspiracy. Why did they come out last week, the Victorian government, they're going to cut all grants to community clubs or services or whatever else they do, so they're going to cut back there. We see in the paper today, I think there's 3,000 to 5,000 jobs going. You can ask the question, if those jobs are expendable, why were they employed in the first place? And he's fitting in a tour to China. The press are not allowed to go. We don't know why he's going. Is it because there is a debt and they've called him over and say, how are you going to repay the debt? Because it was reported 165 billion. I reckon it's about 200. They don't tell you that. I think we're up the creek without a paddle.
Look up corruption in the dictionary and you'll see a picture of the Andrews cabinet. They are a disgrace.
And hasn't he lost his way? I thought he's a representative of the people, and shouldn't there be transparency? It's our lives that this is affecting.
Why don't the media hold him accountable and ask him why they can't go, ask him a few of those questions. A bit like Barack Obama. He'll just sail through here.
Don't worry
seriously,
about Barack
honestly,
Obama.
That's the wonder he's allowed into the country. Now, Don, so we don't you get into your comfort zone, Don, because we got some questions to ask you about a matter. We got about a football club that you used to play for and actually captain to a couple of premierships. Wait till we ask you a couple of questions, and I see, talking of racism, is that the most overused word in the English lexicon at the minute? I see that's reared its
What's the difference between lexicon and language?
What?
Shall I look it up?
Yeah, lexicon and language. Could you tell me what the difference? I thought he should have used the word language, but he used lexicon.
Well, it's the language that's used in a particular lexicon, which is
What's a lexicon?
English version of speech.
What, lexicon?
Yes. Well, you tell us, Simon. This is we could do a word a day. We could do a word a day. But
lexicon, the vocabulary.
The vocabulary
of a person, language, or branch of knowledge. The size of the English lexicon.
Yes, that's the dictionary, a lexicon. What the words in the dictionary are.
Well, why don't you just use language instead of lexicon?
Because it's a broader term, Don.
No, it's not. Other people wouldn't understand. You've got to talk to common folk. You are not very common.
When you say other people wouldn't understand, what you are actually saying is you don't understand. You have about 10 words that you use on a repetitive basis.
There's 2.
And again, fact is 2 of them, and you have no idea about anything else.
Isn't it a good word? You can solve a lot of problems with 2 words, can't you?
Do you know what?
And it's the way you say it.
We've done this before.
It's an interesting word, fuck, isn't it?
Do you know what it means? No, Sid, you might. This is serious. People say, where do words come from? Where do you think, what is that word?
It's got to do something with the convicts, isn't it?
No, it's nothing. I'll tell you what it means.
Go on.
It's an acronym. Do you know what an acronym is? God, look at that.
I know what a simile is.
It's like speaking to the back of...
similar to a simile?
It's like speaking...
Deja vu?
It is like speaking to the back of a handball court. Don, I look at him and it's just blank. Do you know what acronym means? Qantas is an acronym. It's the first letters of a title. So Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Service. That's what Qantas means. So you can say it.
What about the T? Isn't there there's a T in the Qantas. Northern Territory, Queensland Northern Territory Air Service.
What did I say?
You left the T out.
Did I? Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Service, not air service, aerial. So anyhow, a UNESCO is a...
Do you think she flew in on her umbrella?
UNESCO. It's an acronym is only a word that you can pronounce. It's got to have some vowels in it, and you've got to be able to pronounce it. So, FUCK means for unlawful carnal knowledge.
Okay, what about POMI? There's another one.
No, that went straight over the top of his head.
I know, you idiot. I'm not giving you air.
That's what it means, Don.
POMI is something to do with the prisoners, isn't it?
You asked me, where did that word come from? And I said, it comes from, it's an acronym, for unlawful carnal knowledge. That's what you asked me, and I'm telling you, that's what it is. So how do we get onto that? Because you said they're the only 2 words you've got in your vocabulary or your lexicon, get effed. I've moderated that now because the queen of celebrity chat, not gossip, celebrity chat has come into the studio.
Did she come by car or umbrella?
Or by...
Because the umbrella was up. I think she might have flown in.
So don't get into your comfort zone, right? Don't get into your comfort zone.
She just keeps us on the narrow, and we've got to keep it.
We're doing this first.
Now, where were you the other night, Phoebe? Because I rang you, I got into Married at First Sight, and you wouldn't pick up the phone, and I wanted somebody to talk to.
Don, is this the night that then after I didn't pick up, it ended up being a conference call between myself, you and Sue, talking about Married at First Sight? So we've escalated. We've gone from this Don calling me 4 times per episode to talk about what he was seeing on screen on Married at First Sight to now we're doing conference calls during the show. I love Married
running
at First
commentaries.
Sight. I really love Married at First Sight, but I'm actually happy that there's only a couple of episodes left because the commitment to Don.
Just Phoebe, 1 minute though. I'm so sorry. I would like you just. Was there anything important just?
Did you forget to turn my mic on?
I did not have your mic on. So go again, please, Dale.
Well,
He's ringing you up.
a quick recap. No, Don loves Married at First Sight. He rings multiple times through every episode, and now we've escalated to the fact that he now calls and puts me on a conference call with someone else.
It's pathetic, Don. You said
You
that
put me on the conference.
It was not. I was the one you were all calling.
Married at First Sight is a metaphor to the declining mental capacity of the Australian public, and you've become absolutely roped in.
Don, we nearly called Sam. We nearly called you. Next time we're patching you in.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure when it's on that I don't answer the phone if I see both your names come up.
Do you know the best part of Married at First Sight the other night?
Which
two people, one from Perth and one from Sydney. Now, who are those two?
You're talking about Bronte and Harrison, I think.
No,
Which one?
not the ones that are madly in love, or they look like they might.
Oh, Tani and Ollie.
Okay, you know the best part of that scene
Which part?
was the backdrop of the Blue Mountains. Wasn't it I thought
Don was
that
more
is
interested
something
in
for
the
a travelogue.
You were more interested in the trees than the people.
And I thought this is just. Why would you go overseas when I've never seen the Blue Mountains. Why would you go overseas when we've got what we've got in Australia?
To be fair, I would love to know where they filmed that in the Blue Mountains, because it was spectacular. It was absolutely lovely.
It's just unbelievable. Australia is an amazing place. But anyway,
was there horses in it?
No horses. Just a lot of trees that looked like a huge drop behind them. Looked like the what do they call that thing in America? Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
A smaller version of the Grand Canyon with trees.
I am just fascinated by your fascination with Married at First Sight.
No,
I have had
ring
people
you
contact
because I
me.
cannot believe it's got to be scripted, Fiona.
Oh, Don.
It's got to be scripted.
You don't ring up to talk about it being scripted. You ring up to talk about what the couples are doing and what they're saying to each other and who they are.
Who's had Botox and who's had their
Now, if I may, Don.
This done to them, and who's done that, and is she natural?
Is that enough on?
Yes.
Why don't the blokes have a
please.
shave?
What is it called?
Let's move along.
Maths. So, then this is Mick Christian, michaelchristianmenswear.com. Have a look at this for opportunism or being ahead of the curve. Mick has, I know, I'm holding this up to show both of you, all of you, but we'll show this on the when we do the little video. Mick has commissioned some hats in Chinese language. That there, see that there, that says you cannot be serious. He assures me it doesn't say get fucked or go and take
Actually, I don't mind that hat. I'd wear that hat.
So, and he is ahead of the curve.
Yes,
he
that's very good, Mick. You showed some.
Dan Andrews has gone over to placate and woo the Chinese before they take over the entire state.
Can we take a photo?
And he said, why don't we make some hats in Chinese that says you cannot be serious?
Very
that
good.
is it there, Phoebe. I know it. We can't show it, but he assures me that has been word checked and that does not say get nicked or you're a dickhead or whatever. It
Actually,
says
I'd wear that.
You owe me 165 billion.
And
what do you think, Fiona?
Why don't you send it to Dan?
Oh no.
Well, Dan's on a junket overseas at the minute, and also Phoebe and Ivan, and you, Don. He has bought out some signature caps with your name and my name, and he wants us to sign them, and he's going to let them go for an extraordinarily low tariff, extraordinarily low.
How much?
Well, I said you should let them go for, $75 or 50 but they've got he sent them over for you to sign, not stencil.
I'd love to know.
And they are collector's items.
Hey, listen, we're doing all this for you. What is his Michael Christian?
Yes.
What do we do?
What he does is he does send money over.
Oh, does he?
Not a lot because we don't ask him to send a lot over.
What's the exchange rate?
I've spoken to you about that, Don. Don't put me on the spot with that stuff. And I said you should. They're collector's items. He's having a first run of 25 each. 25 each. That's 50 caps.
Well, 2 will go to Israel.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they're seen running around the streets of Jerusalem.
So while we're on that, we'll get
bullets and bloody bombs
we'll get this out of the way now. He wants us to say hello to Wayne Marley from Urangan in Queensland. Have you heard of Urangan?
I don't think you're pronouncing this right.
Urangan. I've never heard of Urangan. I wonder if Mick's that's a typo.
No, they'd have a...
Urangan.
Good on you. Thank you, Fiona. Google Maps,
And Johnny Taranto.
Johnny Taranto.
Johnny Taranto from Bentley.
Do you think Johnny's Italian?
Well, anyhow, they're the two shout-outs.
Taranto
And he said the caps are on the way for the signings, 50 of them, 25 each, are coming to you and me to sign, and we've got to send them back, and you'll be able to purchase them on michaelchristianmenswear.com. We'll get on to Kate Save shortly, and we'll get on to the doctor from the local doctor, that's James Stewart. He's coming in. There's some very interesting stuff going on about the marijuana oil and its rise to prominence, and the doc's going to fill us in because I know you're vitally interested in that. Ivan, do you take the marijuana oil?
No, I get drug tested every day, so I'm good.
What's that got to do with marijuana oil?
Yeah,
Fucking
well, I'll
idiot.
probably test positive, won't I?
No, not if you
No,
take
it's
the
medicinal.
CDC. The CDC,
All right, I'll give it a
the
test.
THC is only for
No,
sleeping.
do it if you're crook. Don't do it just for the sake of it. You'll get hooked.
Unlike yourself.
Phoebe,
well,
do
I
you
mean-
take a small draft of marijuana oil every now and again?
No, Sam, I don't.
Do you get drug tested at the paper? Because
No.
some of the stuff the paper puts in the paper, you'd think they'd have to be drug tested.
Excuse me.
Did you see Barack Obama's out here? God almighty. Seriously.
Talking about the paper, Fiona, did you see a story? Andrew Rule had his name to it, and another lady, in relation to a swingers thing, or it's called something out in southeast Melbourne.
This is Andrew's deadline column that he writes with Mark Butler, and it's
I'm trying
a
to bring it
very,
up.
very cheeky online column that he writes, and the two of them have been reporting with some enthusiasm on a business out in the suburbs that it's perhaps a little more adventurous than what some of us
Andrew
might
doesn't frequent
enter
it, does he?
into. I couldn't comment. I don't know.
Well, why would he have an intimate knowledge of it?
Well, maybe he's got a source that's telling him what. Well, it's
Mark
Mark. He
Butler
and
and
Mark,
Andrew
the
Rule,
two of
you're
them
right.
write it. Yes.
Elite Swingers Club loosens strict entry rules.
What would be an entry rule?
I'm going to read the article. And I wonder where it is. It's in Kew. It's called Monkey Club. A venue regarded as Melbourne's number 1 place for the discerning swinger. How can you be discerning if you're a swinger?
Well, there was a place that had no markings on it at all in where St Kilda Road joins the Nepean Highway in.
Yeah, I know, down in St Kilda.
Yeah, that's right. And it was, and I said to someone,
the
what
swingers?
is that building? It was a completely blank building, but it was a swingers club, and you had to have an entry code to get in, and when
you
you
have
got
the
in
entry
there,
code?
anything went. It was
Hang on. What are you saying, Sam? You frequented a swingers club?
No,
Oh.
I asked
the
someone
only
what it
thing you
was,
haven't
and
done.
they said that's what it was. I was intrigued by the building. Every building has a billboard on it or says what it is or has its number on it, but this was a completely blank building, and that's exactly what it was. It was a nondescript place where people go in and anything went. You had to wear a mask, a fancy...
mask?
You had to wear one of those,
Phoenician masks.
it was just a mask, yeah, not a
COVID
not
mask.
a COVID mask. You had to put one of those.
Yeah, Venetian things.
Yeah, all that stuff. And so people couldn't actually see your face. Of course they could. And they could see everything else loaded on. You could walk in there and you could have the steak and 2 veg just swinging in the breeze, and the women are going there with the min showing and the breastal area is just exposed. It was, I'm told.
So you wouldn't be looking at the mantelpiece when you're stoking the fire if that was the case.
I'm sure you wouldn't be, Don. No. So anyhow, that was a place. I don't know if it's still going. Maybe it's run its race, so to speak. Which, yes. So There was a thing. There was a report. Now there was a report that said that they've made a contraceptive pill. Let me just for men. Let me just get this up. You think I make this stuff up, but I don't. It said it's a contraceptive pill made for men. I'm just getting it up here. Made for men, and the women said, here it is here, Phoebe. If you think I'm making that up, that's a contraceptive pill made for men, and people said. Oh, the women were very sceptical of it because how did they know the males would take the contraceptive pill before they, were rolled over, so to speak, Don, before they copulated? And you could say the same thing about the women. How did the men know that the women are on the pill when they roll them over so that they mightn't become pregnant? So it's a catch-22, isn't it? I mean, if you don't believe a man would take it, why do you believe a woman would take it? Is that logical or not, Phoebe? Don't get involved in that conversation.
The best place you could do it, use the pill is between the knees.
What's that, Don?
The best place you could place the pill is between the knees.
What's the next topic, Sam?
Right, good. Well, I don't know if you've been across this.
Actually, I have a topic.
Good.
Boats.
Oh, all right.
Boats.
The Mornington Peninsula Yacht Club and
Yes.
the scandal over the names that have been given to,
To boats.
I don't know if the word, I actually don't know if the correct wording is scandal, but there's been some sort of concern raised over the names that a couple of the boats down on the peninsula are sporting at the moment.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
as someone who has had a number of decent size vessels over the years, tell us the thought process that goes into naming a boat.
Well, when I've only ever had 2 boats, but the first boat I bought was already named. It was called Obsession, which I think is about the most common name for a boat in the world, Obsession. So I changed it to CC Rider, CC Rider, in honour of Elvis Presley's great song, CC Rider. Oh, CC Rider, oh,
Somebody else, he covered that, didn't he?
No, CC Rider, and I had...
You sure?
You have a
So
little
he didn't
tender
cover
boat.
That?
Hmm?
He didn't. He covered that song, didn't he? CC
Yes,
Rider.
he
Someone else
covered
did it
all
before.
his songs.
No,
He
somebody.
never
else,
wrote a song, Elvis. He's covered them all.
But somebody else brought out CC Rider before Elvis.
Yes,
I
he
think.
did. That's correct. But that's quite correct, Don. But CC Rider, I did it in deference to Elvis. So it's called CC Rider, and the little boat that you have, so that if you get in it and want to go ashore, it's called a tender boat.
Tender.
I called it Love Me. Love Me Tender. So that was my... And then I bought another boat,
Someone
and I've called
would
it...
have to help him, wouldn't
The
That's
boat
no,
I
I
have at the
like
minute
that.
is called...
He's not that smart.
Is called the boat I have at the minute. I named this, and there's no other boat in the world called this. I named it Angst, ANGST, because if you know anything about boating, Don, that is what a great name for a boat is, because it's fraught with danger and frustration and stress.
I think that
Angst.
sums your personality up.
That's
at the moment.
correct. That's quite correct,
Angst.
Don. Quite correct.
very
So
angry
go
man
on,
at the
Phoebe,
moment.
please.
Yes, so the concerns down at the Mornington Yacht Club, now this was reported in The Age earlier this week, and it's a story that's actually had quite a lot of pickup. So Mornington Yacht Club has drifted into some stormy seas amid unhappiness over, inverted commas, misogynistic and offensive boat names painted on vessels parked at the club's marina. A complaint about boats called Himalayan Women and Screaming Seamen has prompted the club to have a quiet word with some of its younger members. CBD, now this is the column that this story was reported in The Age, understands that the lad who thought it was funny to call his boat Big Black Tyler agreed to call it something else instead. Dear, oh
Big
dear.
Black Tyler.
I think that's what it says. Probably something, maybe it says something else.
Screaming Seaman is quite clever because it's SEAMAN, seaman. And of course,
Himalayan.
When you have someone you come on a boat and gives you a hand, you call them Seaman Staines. Someone called Staines, and you call them Seaman Staines is on board, and that is a
boating term.
Seaman Staines, Don. It's seaman. You know what I'm talking about? Seaman Staines, SEAMAN Staines. Mr. Staines is on board, and he's called Seaman Staines, but it's not really what it means. semen, you know, when it comes out of the 8-day, when it comes out of the population rod, Don.
So the captain's name was something Seaman, was it? Freddie
Don.
Seaman.
Holy shit.
Anyway.
You stupid man. Semen stains. What?
So the club...
Screaming semen's good. What's the other one?
Himalayan women. So the club has said in a statement that it's looking into developing a code of conduct when it comes...
Himalayan women. Break it down.
He is laying women.
Syllables.
It's a bit like, do priests do more than lay people?
Anyway, the club is looking into developing a code of conduct when it comes to boat names. So if there's any kind of obvious double meaning, we can point to the rules and say, no, we can't accept that name. Now, that's a club spokesman has said that. But the fellow who owns one of these boats, the Himalayan Women boat, the fellow who owns that has described the issue as ridiculous and absurd. Actually, he said it's nonsense, and that he has no intention of taking the traditionally unlucky step of renaming his boat.
Yes, it's very unlucky to rename a boat, Don, and everyone. Do you know what you're meant to do if you do rename a boat? You're meant to have a little ceremony in the boat where you wave, what's that stuff called?
Sage.
Thank you very much. I couldn't think of that word the last time, and you reminded me of it. You're meant to light sage. You can go through all the cabins in the boat, and it cleanses it or it purges
come on.
it.
This is like
This is
welcome
about
to
welcome
ceremony.
to country.
Wait till we get on to welcome the country. Wait till we get on to that.
This is ridiculous.
So, but that's what you're meant to do. You're not meant to rename a boat unless you purge it by
It's a
putting
bit
sage.
like Fiona, do you think it's a bit like the racehorses? You've got a submitted name there of your racehorse and get it approved.
Well, Don, when I read this story earlier this week, I actually did think of racehorse naming because there's a number of names of racehorses that have been knocked back over the years because they've had double meanings or they've been deemed to be offensive.
His horse registered, me hat, me coat.
And did it get...
No, it got knocked back.
Got knocked back. Yeah. There are... I suppose it's comes down to inverted commas sensitivity. You know, the various bodies that run, whether it's the naming of racehorses or in this case boats, perhaps they're just trying not to offend people.
Now, Don, everyone, 2 points of local interest. I think we are solely responsible, Don, of this podcast for making sure that the woman who camps on Beaconsfield Parade is no longer. She hasn't been there for a fortnight. And I believe that our fervent and continual action to get her removed from that area has worked because she's not there. We've had many people report that they go by and have not seen her, people who agree with us wholeheartedly. Very prominent people agree with us wholeheartedly.
Well, let's hope. Well, hang on. Let's hope nothing untoward has happened.
As in she's expired?
Well, we don't know because she was a smoker. She used to just lay there and smoke.
You make her sound like a compost heap. She might have just... I don't know what's happened to her, but
let's hope
we don't wish her ill as far as that goes,
that's
but we
exactly
do wish
right.
that she doesn't appear back on our most prestigious boulevard, which
it's
is
not
called...
the most prestigious.
Well, which one is?
We haven't got one.
Don, it is our most prestigious boulevard.
What, that Esplanade?
It doesn't mean to say...
I've got to go into an interview. I'm just stepping out for a few minutes. I have to do an interview. Hang on.
Well, we better close this down, Phoebe. I don't think we can continue if you're not here.
This woman just makes it. She rocks in when she wants to.
Don, listen to me.
She goes when she wants to.
I said it's our most prestigious boulevard. Doesn't mean it's good. It's as good as we've got, Don. That's what that means. Doesn't mean to say it's up there with the Champs-Élysées or it's up there with Rodeo Drive or the Arc de Triomphe or Botany Bay in Sydney Harbour. It means it's our most prestigious boulevard, which is the Beaconsfield Parade, and she's gone. Now tell me, I do want your opinion on this, Don and Ivan. Phoebe's gone to do some very important business.
Do we know who with?
No, where'd that fucking thing go? Hang on. This is a billboard I saw just in locally. Tell me, would you stop? Oh, fucking.
Why are you trying to look for that? Now, hang on. Just concentrate. Whoa. Don't swear.
No.
Now, Can I ask you, I saw a tackle. It's been around in football for quite a few years. You're there, you're listening to me while you're trying.
Yeah.
Can you do two things at once?
Well, go on.
They're finally, how it ever came about, it's called a sling tackle. Now, I go back to our day, when you had a player trapped, you didn't throw him to the ground. That was the thing, it was either dropping the ball or holding the man, whatever else. We never went to that extra little bit. These players have, for a number of years now, taken advantage of the opponent, and they have no respect in that regard. And it's an easy, cheap way of hurting somebody. And a fellow got rubbed out from Adelaide. I don't know his name, but he got a Richmond player I think it was Richmond, near the boundary, and sling tackled and hit his head. There's been a number of these. The AFL have finally come in saying 4 weeks he got. This should have been stamped out years ago. They're just so far behind, and a lot of them don't understand.
Is this an adjunct to the head injuries that's going on at the minute?
Well, I think it's a cheap shot. I really do think it's a very, very cheap shot. It's a very cheap shot.
You used to do that.
I did never, ever. That's why I'm bringing that up.
You kicked people.
Yes.
And punched them and gouged them.
Yes.
And spat on them.
Yes.
But not sling tackle.
But, well, mighty noble of you, Don, that you didn't sling tackle in. You did all the others, but not those. Well done. Congratulations.
And as if you didn't hit blokes from behind when they weren't looking.
You, I hit from behind.
Oh, you not only me. Don't you worry about that. You learned it off Polly Farmer.
Hitting people from behind.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Don, don't get in your comfort zone. You think that we're just glossing over the Hawthorn saga, that the thing that's just reared its head. What the paper has dredged up this again about the racism going on. It went nowhere. It petered out last time.
It's going to peter out again.
It petered out because no one had come forward and put their name to it, and now they've dredged it up again. We're not doing that at the minute. I'm going to grill you about Hawthorn because you went and disrupted a meeting.
No.
All right, I shouldn't put words in your mouth.
You.
I'll give you your say. Don't worry. And now, so I have not. This shows how much of what's the football. Someone said, I knew they talked about it last year. Are the 4 umpires umpiring the game now?
4, yeah.
4.
Can you believe that?
I don't.
I cannot.
I didn't believe it because I haven't watched the game. But someone said, "What do you think of the 4 umpires?" I said, please tell me 4 umpires aren't on the ground at 1 minute, are they? That if you want to see the decline of our great game, just keep. They'll have 5 and 6 and 7.
Between 2 lines, a half-back line in each team, and if one umpire can't cover that area, it occasionally goes out of those areas when a score has happened. But the game's predominantly played in that area, and if one umpire, I cannot.
No, the umpires were doing too many kilometres in a game.
Oh, God.
That's because they run around like a dog chasing a frisbee. If they just stood back and just observed the game rather than trying to manage it.
Well, then they can't see all the sling tackles.
So here I saw...
umpires in days gone by used to work in a diamond shape, and they wouldn't go out of that, and that's how they covered the ground, going from centre half back to centre half forward. Occasionally they'd get out, but that's how they operated, and that's where they ran.
Exerting yourself and running around looks as though you're efficient, Don, so perception is everything. Now, Don, I saw this on a billboard just in the street here. It says, there's a picture of a cow on the billboard, and it says, the dairy industry will kill him tomorrow. Him, I presume a cow is a girl, isn't
not
it?
Binary?
Well done, Ivan. A non-binary cow animal.
A cow's female.
That's right. There's a picture of a cow here on the billboard, and it says, the dairy industry will kill him tomorrow, but you can save him. And then you log on to some website called, I don't know, Stealth Cycle or something, .org.au. What I'm asking you is, would you stop eating beef? Would you stop eating meat because someone says the dairy industry is going to kill that picture of a cow? Where do they get their money to put up crap like that?
No, sorry, you've lost. Who's Who's putting this?
If you can read the website, at the website there's some stealthcycle.org.com or .au have put up a billboard saying the dairy industry will kill a picture of a cow there, kill him, which is a non-binary Ivan, but you can save him. They're trying to say don't eat meat and don't kill and slaughter livestock for human consumption. Would that stop one person eating meat if they didn't want to eat meat? What a waste of money that is. What do they think they're trying to do? Trying to tell people to be vegans. That's fair enough. You don't want to eat meat. What I'm saying is how much money, what a waste of money to try and influence people. Would you stop if you were thinking, oh, I wonder if I'll have a steak, or I wonder if I'll eat some lamb cutlets? Would you stop doing that because you saw that billboard? That is just sheer projection of trying to show you're virtuous about what, saving what. Livestock is bred to eat, like chickens are, like everything is, like fish are. Fish are bred to eat in hatcheries and stuff. They want us to eat crickets and insects.
Talking about fish, I want to take you and Fiona up on something on fish later.
Well, now we're going to close this off now, Don, because I'm coming back. But what we do is we're giving a shout out.
I want shout outs. I've got a few.
Well, let's give one to Michael Turner.
Oh, good on
and
you. I'm
his
glad
wife,
you're doing that.
Karen.
Tell the story.
Well, Michael Turner, who I played football with at Geelong, and he is a team of the century player. His father, Michael Turner, and
I played in a state game
what's his father's name? Leo. He was a great player, and I played with him at Geelong, and he's in a very serious medical predicament at the minute. He's got pancreatic cancer, and his wife, Karen, has suffered a debilitating injury by just a car accident that she was involved in. So
she was going, I put a thing, she was going to visit Michael.
Correct.
Exactly when he was
got
in hospital
squashed
at
in
Box
between
Hill,
a car.
And tell the story. Yeah.
No, she got squashed and she had a whole shirt full of broken ribs and quite a serious injury to her body. And their sons, Shay and Levi, are looking after them. So we are sending out, we're very vitally interested in Michael Turner and Karen Turner's health. He's a very good man, a great footballer, part of the AFL scene and the feeder competitions. And so we're sending a shout out to him, and we do hope. I don't know if you're a biblical person, Ivan, or
I can be.
Could you get a map and try and locate Mecca, or are you looking for Allah, or even Buddha, or Jesus Christ? But if you could say a prayer.
All right, I'll
just
Google
in the
it.
back of your mind, for those people, I think it might help, Don. Do you think?
Mick Turner, to me, there's a certain physique I think's ideal for football, and two players in all my time of playing football had the perfect physique. One you might remember, he played for South Melbourne and Port Melbourne, called Shane McHugh, and the other is Michael Turner. Wide shoulders and narrow at the hip, a little bit like Big John. Remember that song?
Big John. Big John.
Big Bad John.
Every morning at the mine you could see him arrive. He stood 6'6", weighed 245. Kind of broad at the shoulder and narrow at the hip, and everybody knew you gave no lip to
Mick Turner, Michael Turner.
Don, I think when you're starting to reminisce and get comfortable and aroused by looking at men playing football, I think that's when we'll close off. That's when we'll close off this segment, Don, before we get any further into your sexuality.